For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
One of the justifications for the Speaker of the House to hold on to his job or to resign. One of the issues we're discussing during the course of this afternoon's NewsSpin program for today, Wednesday, with me, Timothy Poleon. We go up until 2 o'clock. Of course, you will be part of the conversation, and you will even determine what we can discuss when you call 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And apart from all that, your comments in the chat room, and the chat room reporter, Kimani Thomas, will be on later, and just to tell us what you have written in the chat room and to also report on your behavior. Still to come as well, the NewsSpin news of the day, and who knows, a few surprises. But the leader of the parliamentary opposition is calling for the resignation of the Speaker of the House, Mr. Claudius Francis. And Mr. Alan Shastin did so earlier today during a press conference. You'll be hearing from him in just a moment. But first, what has caused Alan Shastin to call for the resignation of Claudius Francis? Well, it all started with two government MPs lodging a complaint and resulting in the Speaker, Mr. Claudius Francis, deciding to rule that therefore there's a case, there's questions for Mr. Shastin to answer, and that is before the Privileges Committee. He made the announcement during an October 11th sitting of the St. Lucia House of Assembly. This is what Mr. Francis said then.
I had previously ruled that in the matter involving the statement made by the member from Eco South in relation to the member for Castries Central, that a prima facie case had been made for the matter to be heard by the Committee on Privileges. And I now appoint Thursday, the 20th of October 2022, at 10 o'clock in the forenoon for that hearing. In relation to the matter involving the allegations made by the member for Micoud South against the member for Castries South, I rule that a prima facie case has also been made for the matter to be dealt with by the Committee of Privileges, and advise that the hearing on this matter will take place on Tuesday, the 25th of October, 2022 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. The Clerk of Parliament is instructed to issue the notice and summons by Thursday, 13th October, 2022. She is also to meet with all the parties involved to determine which, if any, witnesses either party wishes to summon.
Now, that proceeding did not take place because of legal action that was taken by Mr. Alan Chastney, because the leader of the parliamentary opposition and MP for Micoud South always felt that Mr. Francis was in breach of the proceedings and the rules of the House of Assembly. As far as he is concerned, then and now, the whole matter was not treated with the level of professionalism that was warranted, and also what was necessitated, according to him, was that the two individuals, that is the MP for Castries South, Dr. Ernest Tilley, and the MP for Castries Central, should have been allowed to make a presentation in the House of Assembly, and you expected to have Mr. Alan Chastney as well making a presentation, and then put the whole issue as whether the matter warranted it being decided before the Privileges Committee via a vote. But as you heard from the Speaker, he decided on his own to suggest or to rule that the Privileges Committee should be made to rule on this particular issue. Well, it turned out, according to the Supreme Court, that Mr. Francis acted wrongly as far as this is concerned. And so let us hear from the leader of the opposition as he spoke earlier today during a press conference. But before that, aren't you just nostalgic? Don't you just want to go back to the period when our speaker was Wilfred St. Clair Daniel? By the way, he passed away at the age of 89 about a decade ago.
The basis of having a shadow cabinet is for persons to speak to what is said to be the portfolios which they are shadowing. The basis of having a shadow cabinet is for persons to speak to what is said to be the portfolios which they are shadowing.
The late Wilfred St. Clair Daniel. Over now to the leader of the parliamentary opposition, speaking today during a press conference.
The situation with the Privileges Committee saga came to an end this week or last week with the conclusion of the court case. It's important to appreciate that the conclusion was one of consent, meaning that both parties agreed to the order in every aspect of it. And what caused and what started this unfortunate and damning situation for St. Lucia really in many ways is a Speaker of the House who had made it very clear that he was going to come after the opposition. That opposition includes myself as leader of the opposition and Bradley Felix as the other MP. And it wouldn't stop there. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he used the term that he was going to use a bazooka to come after the members of the United Workers' Party. So in this particular circumstance, where there is so much information available globally and in similar parliamentary systems around the world, to have gotten it so wrong begs the question whether this was political victimization or whether this was truly a person that was ignorant of what he was doing. When the Speaker held a meeting of the House and gave almost a 45-minute diatribe as to the beginning of the privileges process, it was very clear to me, and then once I had consulted my own legal team, very clear to all of us, that the Speaker was heading in the wrong direction. And the Speaker was either deliberately or just did not know what he was doing was wrong. The Speaker followed that up with a letter indicating that the privileges case was going to commence, the committee was going to commence. At that point, we had two choices. We could have applied to the courts for relief right then, or do what we did, which was to write a letter to the Speaker outlining what our concerns were. And I want to say, because it's a very important distinction, it was the belief of myself and my lawyers that the courts ought not to be involving themselves in matters of Parliament. It's only when persons' civil liberties are being breached, or any time that the Parliament is not following its own procedures that then would affect the individual rights of anyone. So we took it upon our own expense. I want to make that very clear, that when we wrote the letter, there was an expense created, of which, if in fact the Speaker had listened and had taken the advice of the letter, that there would have been no cost associated to this procedure. The letter also said that notwithstanding these procedural matters, they all can be remedied. Once you understand what the process is, they can be remedied. So the letter was not in any way saying that the process of privileges, the Privileges Committee should not proceed. We only want it to be done in the right way. And if in fact the Speaker, and now we can say that in hindsight, had gotten professional advice, that maybe this would have been cured at that point. But it's clear to me that the Speaker either did not get any advice or chose to advise himself. And instead of taking heed of the letter, he decided to double down on the letter. And so it's only when he said, after reading the letter, that he was going to continue to proceed in the manner which he had already prescribed, that we were left with no choice but to take the matter to court. In court, and over that weekend, it is clear that the Speaker would have received professional advice. People who clearly are certified lawyers, persons who have passed the bar. And that those lawyers would have told him that he's made a very grave mistake. And the chances of winning the case in the court are little to none. And that it's better to go to the court, admit that there was a mistake, and to give the court an undertaking that the case would not proceed. So in the beginning part of the case, their lawyers kept on saying, we've already sent out the letters saying there's not going to be the privileges, and we've already backed off of the process. It is my lawyer who made the point, and that point was debated for 4 hours at the case, that the Speaker did not have the authority to prevent the case from proceeding, and that it was further misunderstanding on his part as to the authority that he had, that the only entity that could prevent the privileges case from proceeding would be Parliament, And we made it very clear that we would never want to bind Parliament in that way as an opposition. We think that that would be a bridge too far. So the Speaker's promise of an undertaking not to proceed was denied, and an actual injunction through an order was imposed. And so it was only this week now that the contents of the case were to be discussed. And as I said, both parties chose to agree on what the outcome of that case should be. It's what we call a consent order. And the agreement is that the Speaker acknowledges that he never had the authority to have referred any matter to the Privileges Committee. In fact, I'm hopefully that some of you have read the order itself. I do have copies here to provide for you. So in essence, he agreed that he never had the authority to proceed, and more importantly, what he did with Richard Fedrick and Ernest Hilaire is null and void, and is of no relevance. Okay, and that it cannot proceed. So this has left us with three very important points on this matter. Point one is, who advised the Speaker? What process did the Speaker go through in devising this scheme? And how did he get it so wrong? And what level of accountability should he take in that happening? Two, that because he chose not to listen to the letter, to take on the letter we sent, and caused this matter unnecessarily, in my mind, to go to the courts, and therefore the court's time was occupied that could have been occupied to do other things, and now costs are having to be paid. So it means that thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money is having to be used in order to pay for this maladministration of the Speaker. The third thing is very, very important. Why? Why did the Speaker choose to do this, go on this trolley by himself? And sadly for us as an opposition, we can only say that this is political malice.
Leader of the Parliamentary Opposition, MP for Micoud South, Mr. Alan Chasney. And this would have been a historic sitting of the Privileges Committee, because no member of Parliament has ever been brought before the Privileges Committee in St. Lucia. Let's open the lines to take your calls right now at 452-2979, 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026, 716-2026. Why should the Speaker resign or stay in office? Our Facebook question, and we have a few comments. I'll go through them right now. Somebody says, there are certain appointed positions within government which requires the appointee to be neutral. Being neutral does not only mean while rendering or working within the parameters of your position, it also requires a certain level of responsibility. I'll be going through some of the comments as we continue the broadcast. But first, a call, our first one for today. This is NewsSpin. Good afternoon. Okay, what was that call? 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. That's 716-2026. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. All right, somebody says there, in terms of our question, why should the Speaker resign or stay in office? Somebody says he must stay to see Boss Shas in his face. Another comment there. If the Speaker has disgraced the position, then he should resign. I believe he would do so on his own volition if he truly believes that. Failing to do that right thing, the Prime Minister can ask him to step down to save the reputation of the government. However, careful consideration should be given to the incident and its effects, not just the political bias. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello? Oh, I know somebody's playing I think somebody's trying to play a game with us. Trying to block the line. Okay? But remember, we also have the WhatsApp calls and messages. The number is 716-2026. So we'll try again to see if we have a call. No, we don't. Okay. What's happening in the chat room, Kimani?
We have someone saying when the money starts to come out of these politicians' pockets, maybe then they will be more careful. Someone is saying all three should be charged, avocat sans papier. Someone else is saying, Bailey, call now. Explain to us how the courts is wrong and Claudius is still right. Someone else is saying the days of Peep and company are numbered. That is about it in the chat room.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we have a call. Let's try the line. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Tim.
Yes, good afternoon to you, caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, I'm sending my resignation for the speaker to be resigned.
You are suggesting that the speaker resign?
Yes.
Okay.
Completely resign from this post.
Why should he resign? Why should he resign?
It costs the taxpayer our money. You know, our sweat money, Tim, is not coming from his pocket, and they have to make him pay that from his pocket. That's my take for this end.
Okay, thank you so much. But he acted in an official capacity as the Speaker of the House and not as an individual or ordinary citizen. So, because of that, the cost has to be met by the state, which is all of us, taxpayers. We have a call. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air. All right, let's see there in terms of your WhatsApp messages. Just lost a call there. Let's try again to see. Okay, we'll take a WhatsApp call. Let's take a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon, this is NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Okay, we'll take a WhatsApp call.
Hello, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah. That is the same guy that called yesterday.
Yes, caller. Good afternoon.
All right.
And somebody said that
something is playing in the background. Okay, so turn down the volume, please. Turn down the volume and then continue.
I'll call back.
Okay. All right. So let's try again. Another line. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon. Hello. Okay, so we keep either losing that call or somebody is playing some kind of game with us. All right, but continue to call 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says, Tim, someone forgot to come to court to make sure justice took its course. Okay, we have another call, this time via WhatsApp. Caller from the diaspora. Hello, you are on the air. Okay, that call is reconnecting. So we're standing by to have a contribution from somebody who is in the diaspora calling via WhatsApp, and that call is reconnecting right now. We might as well try to see if we get another call coming in via the landline. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Okay, I think somebody is trying to sabotage our broadcast this afternoon. I really think so. But this certainly will not deter us, will not prevent us from, continuing with our calls and our contributions. Let's see if we have another call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello. Yes, good afternoon to you, caller.
Tim, good afternoon.
Hi.
Yeah,
yes.
Tim, I don't know, but somebody's playing with your line there this afternoon.
Yeah, somebody is definitely trying to sabotage the program.
Well, don't worry, Ricardo. God is good. Tim, I listened to the leader of the opposition, and then what I gathered here, I can say that was maliciously and deliberately done by the Speaker of the House. Now, I just don't know how. I mean, Tim, are we another one taxpayers paying for that?
Absolutely.
So why, I mean, because all of this, like Rick said, could have been avoided. That these petty little things that could have avoided. If you were trained, you didn't have a vendetta against the United Workers' Party or the political leader party. That would have settled in Parliament. That is simple as that, end of story. But no, you bully your big man. You want to take it to a level as though you judge, jury, and everything, and now we'd have cost taxpayers' money that one. I don't think, that is my opinion, that he's fit for that position. Because I cannot see me paying him. I mean, after I have to pay him and pay an extra of what he did there, he cannot be sitting there as a Speaker of the House. And the statement that was made about the bazooka, the gloves is off, it's not catapult anymore. I mean, set the example. You are the one guiding the House of Parliament. Guide it. And that, no wonder why we have crime all over the place and nobody respect the police. What message are you sending out there? Talking about bazooka, the gloves is off. The gloves is off for who? So you want to play like Rambo, do what you want as Speaker of the House? I believe he should be definitely, and the people of St. Lucia should be demanding that he leave that House Assembly and get somebody else to do the job. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you so much for calling. Kimani, what's in the chat room?
Someone is saying, Senate President has to vacate post now. The Speaker needs to follow. Shame on this administration. Someone is saying that my condolences to the Speaker for the death of his reputation. Step down ASAP. You guys are having a jolly good time in the chat room.
Okay, let's see if you have a call. Do we? We will try to see if we have a call. No, we lost that call. But continue to call at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. What we'll do is to carry out an investigation to find out who exactly is trying to tab the line. We'll be working on that to determine the identity of that person. We have a call. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Tim, I'm listening to you and some of your callers. The grievances filed against Alan Shastri, right, in that particular case, doesn't mean the ruling of the case does not mean that it is not without merit, you know.
What does it mean?
What it means that Claudia should not have filed it. The person who should have filed it is the person who had the grievances.
How do you determine? How do you determine merit or not if it did not go through the process? It not even go through the process.
But are you listening to me, please?
I'm listening to you. I'm listening to your nonsense. Okay. It does not make sense at all.
Okay. Secondly, Tim. Right now, all of y'all are concerned about the $150,000 that has to be paid, right?
That's how much that will be paid? $115,000?
$115,000, whatever the amount.
But that's a lot of money.
A lot of money, Tim.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money. Mm. But where was the concern when Alan Shastri gave $24 million of our money to Sanders? Where was the concern?
Caller, we have discussed those issues. Don't want to. No. If that was a wrong caller. If that was a wrong. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If that was a wrong, then does not mean that somebody taking a certain course of action that is costing the taxpayers of this country thousands of dollars does not mean that is correct. It's right. Don't try to justify one wrong with another wrong. If you perceived the actions of the former Prime Minister to be ill-advised, why try to justify this with another wrong, caller? Unacceptable. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Good afternoon, you are on the air. Let's try again. All right, so we lost that call. Let's try via WhatsApp. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Hi, good day, Mr. Poleon. How are you?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, I'm going against the grain of your discussion today. To go back on what surfaced as the main discussion issue yesterday, and that was the issue of the retraction of the letter or memo that went out from the police, I think, to administrators or principals of various schools, speaking to the intentions of the police to arrest situations of delinquency within the city involving school students. I think the police really could have done without. There's a lot of noise in your background, Tim, for some reason.
Try to ignore it. I suspect
anyhow.
it's coming from your end. Try to ignore it.
No, I don't think it is. I'm in a very quiet area. No, it's much better now. Okay. So I think the police could have done without that messaging at this point in time and the negative imagery that came out of it. I say at this point in time, considering the recent challenges the police has faced, remember the incident in your hometown, if I can put it that way, Fulasho, in which the police were challenged. And you recall soon after that, the police issued a note in which they were reminding people of the need to be cooperative and to subdue themselves, to allow the police to conduct their business and their affairs, as you know, their responsibility dictates providing service and protection to the community, and to have them coming back a few days after in an apologetic tone as though they did something wrong, I think that was unfortunate. It is clear to me, and I'm sure many, that there were some powers that were playing in the background that maybe brought about that rescinding on the part of the police, but I felt it was very unfortunate. It sort of, you know, it acted to disarm and disempower the police at a time like now when the police are required to be assertive, and I think that was basically what they were trying to communicate. Now, let's understand the issue of the delinquency of school students in Cashews. It's a long-standing problem. It's a historical problem. Now, the issue, and that came up yesterday, of the interface between the Ministry of Education and the police. In fact, your first female caller, I think, summed it up nicely. What happens after hours? What happens when school students, you know, whether they're armed or not, perform certain criminal activities within the city? Is the ministry going to be the one to intercede? The fact is, the police are the entity responsible for dealing with situations like that. Now, Timothy, there's an established MOU, somebody spoke about that yesterday, between the police and, for example, there is an entity called Family Services, or Human Services, sorry, in which they deal with situations like that, where you have, you know, etc., etc. The Ministry of Education receives support from the police on a number of instances in terms of dealing with criminal activities within the school environment. So that is established. And so I fail to understand what was the basis for the police having to rescind on their stated, position, which is to be assertive and to help to address the issue in Cashews. The question remains, how now do we effectively deal with an ongoing and growing problem of delinquency and criminal activity by students within the confines of the city? Does anybody have an answer outside of the fact that the police had stated their intention to deal with it, and they were required to come back in an apologetic tone, rescinding on that? What message does it send out to the students and the wider community in terms of how they relate to and respect the work of the police?
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Timothy.
Thank you so much for calling. Maybe the Ministry of Education has plans to appoint certain wardens whose job it will be to walk the streets and to determine whether unruly students should be arrested or not, or disciplined, or whether they should be recommended to appear before Human Services or juvenile court. Just setting up maybe another layer, another bureaucratic layer to deal with that particular problem, because it's the very first time I'm hearing that the Ministry of Education deals with such matters. I don't know how they will approach this particular issue in the first place. I think it's the preserve of the police, and the police can work in collaboration with other state agencies. Still to come, a state of road, a road to be rehabilitated, a stretch of road to be rehabilitated, more on this, and including calls for the resignation of the Speaker of the House. All that and more coming up on NewsSpin as we continue to discuss the issues of the day. We are on Facebook as well as on YouTube and Power 97.9 FM.
Switching your mortgage is easy and hassle-free with First National Bank. Make that smart move today and enjoy an affordable interest rates, convenient payment plan, and other great benefits. Make your home equity work for you and get 100% financing. Call us today at 455-7127 or 455-7000. The time to switch is now. Terms and conditions apply. First National Bank, here for you.
How we live? Hybrid life, living in the hybrid life. Where you feel live? Hybrid life, we living in the hybrid life. End of one time we now watch phone bill. No That's with the contract is a sure thing. How with the new floor plan name? Hybrid. If you don't know about it, then you better slide in. How we live? Hybrid life, living in the hybrid life. Where you feel live? Hybrid life, we living in the hybrid life. Jump in the hybrid life, living in the hybrid life.
Flow's new hybrid plan. Postpaid and prepaid come together as one with no overages, no contract, no deposit, and no catch. Bundle up now and get 15 gigabytes of data and unlimited flow call for only $57.50 per month, plus a discounted smartphone.
You see the new phone plan that Flow made? You could turn postpaid to prepaid.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Bob and Dave were very proud to buy their mom a new energy-saving fridge with lots of smart settings. They remember the old ways of energy saving. Mom always said, "Close the fridge, you're wasting current." Smart advice then, smart advice now. Close the fridge, you're wasting current. Saving energy is what's smart.
Craving some irresistible KFC chicken? KFC Wow Box has got you covered. For only $22, you get one piece of juicy chicken, one delicious sandwich, and a side of crispy regular fries. This offer is available at all KFC stores island-wide, and now with both dine-in and delivery options available, you can enjoy your meal however you want. Come into the store and enjoy the KFC experience or have it delivered to your doorstep. Don't wait, order now through WhatsApp at 484-0400 or visit our website, kfcstlucia.com. Don't miss out on this amazing deal. Get your KFC Wow Box today, whether it's dine-in or delivery.
Choose Techland for your consumer, commercial, industrial, and automotive electronic repairs. We repair gaming systems, power supplies, televisions, vehicle electronics and wiring, appliances, control units, medical, marine and manufacturing equipment. And the list goes on. We have you covered whatever size, shape or use. Call us for your flood damaged vehicles and equipment. Individuals and companies, we will clean and restore your cars to normal working condition. Call us at 450-1025 or WhatsApp 285-1025. Located at Goodfellas Garage in Tuya, Bois de Wange. Techland, your electronics expert. Repair it, Don't replace it.
The basis of having a shadow cabinet is for persons to speak to what is said to be the portfolios which they are shadowing.
Former Speaker, the late Wilfred Sinclair Daniel, indisputably the best Speaker Speaker of the House of Assembly St. Lucia has ever had. Somebody says the item, the Speaker's incompetence has caused the taxpayers of St. Lucia a high sum of money, and he should do the honorable thing and resign, if not fired. Okay, I think we have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You on the air?
Good afternoon, Steve. How are you?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you. Caller, go ahead, please.
Yes, Steve. Do you have the clip where the Speaker of the House was saying about the bazooka, the catapult, and the dwarf? Can you play this clip for me, please?
Okay, we'll try to play it. I don't know if I could get it right now, but we'll try, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. That's a nice way of describing the clip, the catapult and the dwarf. All right, Kimani, what's happening in the chat room?
Someone is commenting saying today is for the Speaker. Another comment, Tim, the problem is the Speaker believes the 15-2 majority complies to all the laws in the House. Hence the reason the Speaker is supposed to be neutral, but because appointed by the PJP administration, it's 16 against 2 in the House, costing us money. PJP saying we don't have time to resign. Tim, the problem is the Speaker, that's it. And someone else is saying, if Shazi said $115,000 in Awawi, that's a lot of moolah wasted over an ego. Someone is asking, can the leader of the opposition bring the two ministers to court on the same subject that led him to the Privileges Committee? Do you think he can, Tim?
I don't think that he ought to be doing that, or I don't think that that's something that he can do in any event.
Another comment, someone is saying, caller, Sandals continues to operate and contribute to breadbasket of the island. That investment has proven beneficial. A few breaches by the Speaker, breaches at 150K per breach during this term can be substantial. We have other comments. Someone is saying, I'm so disappointed in Claudius. He should have been more knowledgeable in 2023. Another comment saying, reckless decisions because the money is not coming out of their savings. We have someone else stating, the Speaker has compromised his position in many ways. In a recent interview with a Grenadian journalist, he kept referring to we like he was part of the government and cabinet. Claudius needs to resign to salvage the dignity of the office of the Speaker. Someone is saying, pride is a terrible thing. Tim, where is the Prime Minister? Not a word, not a word. Someone is saying that when he pays the money to Shah should write a check as donation to the Accountant General. Someone was also saying that he should give it to the government because apparently the country has no money.
Okay, let's see if we have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Hello, Tim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon, good afternoon. Yeah, something I'm just trying to share there with you. Yesterday, I called your program, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the voice, it has sound like somebody I heard call before because that person spoke the same Creole language, you understand? But really and truly, it was the first time that I was calling, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt offended when somebody else called jackass, like, you understand? And I just let it go this way. But what I'm saying, I listened to your program for a long, long time. And I try to take the level of respect in your program and what you stand for. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Before I made a contribution, okay? And my thing about the Speaker of the House is I think he should go. Because as somebody said a while ago, as long as the monies are not coming from their pocket, they tend to play reckless with it. But if he knew that he would have to pay it on his own, he would be more careful. And that's my second time for calling. Have a blessed
Okay, sir.
day.
Thank you so much for calling. So the caller did take offense. I think the description of him was certainly unfortunate. And I did jump to his defense because, we quickly like to disrespect people and insult them, call them stupid, call them idiot, and so on, that is certainly unacceptable. And of course, we don't tolerate that kind of abuse on NewsSpin. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. WhatsApp call. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Tim, you have very high standards on your show. And one of it is that you ask your listeners to refrain from name calling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for this reason, I will not call the Speaker of the House an avocata or an imbecile.
But I think you just did that, caller. I think you just did that.
Well,
but let's not.
But if he has any decency,
let's not use any crafty methods, to insult people. Let's not do that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry. If the Speaker has any decency, I think what he should do is to suggest to his paymasters that deductions be made from his salary on a monthly basis to meet the cost of that whole fiasco which he embarked upon. But I also, Tim, I would like to see at the next sitting of the House whether he's going to have one of these long-winded preambles or this prologue that he normally has, and whether he's going to address this whole matter when the House sits next. That's my contribution.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing it with us, sir. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Let me see if I have any of your messages. Somebody is still trying to tie up or engage the landline, but we'll try to see if our technical people can rectify that problem. I think we don't have a call. Instead, let me go through a WhatsApp message. Good afternoon, sir. I just heard a gentleman say that Alan Shastney gave $20 million to Sanders. I wanted him to continue speaking with the hope that Mr. Shastney would use the tape to take him before the courts. Good afternoon, NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim. How you doing?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Tim, I just want to add my take on this whole Claudius Francis, Speaker of the House, fiasco. And I want to echo the sentiments from the last caller. I think Claudius Francis, if he has some decency, he should make the government of St. Lucia, through the Ministry of Finance, deduct his salary. Because it cannot be that the taxpayer now is further burdened to pay I'm told, correct me if I'm wrong, $165,000 in legal costs. I mean, that already people are suffering in the country. There's no employment, no new employment by this Labour government. Already people are burdened to pay. St. Lucia is the only country in the world, $17.95 a gallon for gas at the pump, when all over the world gas prices went down. When groceries, the items on the supermarkets are skyrocketing, are increasing day by day. Inflation is high more than ever before. There's a sense of hopelessness in the country. The government keeps appointing job for the boys. I'm told there's a New York consultant on the scene, Silas Wilson, paying him over $100,000 a year. We don't know what his terms of reference. We yet to know. We don't know. Who is he consulting at the Ministry of Economic Affairs?
Well, I've not been able to confirm this one, huh?
Well, check it out, Tim.
Yeah.
Check it out. He got a 2-year contract. Silas Wilson got a 2-year contract at the expense of the burdening taxpayer, your taxpayer money, Tim. Further, a 2-year contract. He's also appointed a temporary government senator. Job for the boys continues under the Labour Party. And then now you have this whole Claudius Francis saga of fiasco, where the taxpayers, the poor people now have to pay $165,000. I would venture to say further, Tim, that the House has been compromised. As a result of Claudius Francis' actions as Speaker of the House, the Parliament of St. Lucia is like a circus, Tim. You remember this whole bazooka comment that he made on his talk show last year? There's no leadership. This Labour Party government continues to shame the country. out there we're like a laughing stock for by the world. And I'm saying if Claudius Francis have any decency as an individual, he can do two things: either make the government of St. Lucia deduct the money from his salary, or do the honorable thing and resign. And we should call for his resignation immediately. Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you so much for calling. Turn our attention now to a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Good afternoon, man. I'm so happy I had to call you on WhatsApp. They're sabotaging you big time, brother.
I suspect they're trying to do that.
They did Juke Badat last year. No, they're doing it to you, Tim. It's compulsory. They did Juke Badat for a whole month until, I hope a speedy recovery to Juke Bois as we speak. And Tim, I want to sympathize with your good friend. I think he's Mr. James, because that's the first time I'm calling for the year.
Yeah.
But I would like to sympathize with Mr. James, big time.
The family.
And his family.
Yeah.
On the passing of his death. Sad, very sad day for Mr. James and his family. But Tim, honestly speaking, there's no going wrong and going wrong. In my opinion, the resign. The reason for that, we have the constitution that governs the parliament and how to conduct the sitting of the house. For a big man being the president of the Senate for almost 5 years, and now move from president to Speaker of the House. But Tim, the problem I have with the Speaker of the House, this man is a man that knows it all. I remember my deceased friend from Denny, which is your friend. I think his name is Ipan or Ipa, whatever it is. You record him. Same Speaker of the House tried to sue this man, where he tried to violate the man's democratic rights by calling the talk show. Hey now, you knew about the laws of the parliament when you wanted to take Mr. Shasta to ransom, and I mean the privileged committee and whatever. Mr. Shasta didn't know he's wrong. That's where wrong.
Okay, my apologies to you. We'll have to. My apologies to you, sir. We'll have to terminate the call because the call is dropping and the quality is not too good at all, sir. All right, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, and that is 716-2026. Okay, let me see if I have a WhatsApp message there. Somebody says, Tim, what's going on at the Miku police station? Our officers are outside under a small white tent taking the sun and getting wet. So what's going on there? I am not aware, sir. The other one says, if taxpayers' money is used, which it probably will, remind the people they voted for this. If he resigns, you won't know what you'll get next. Now you know how to deal with him. Just a thought. Okay, let's see if we have... Okay, what's happening in the chat room? Kimani.
Someone is saying resign and run for Castries Central on an SLP ticket. Tim, you've been advised by someone from the chat room that you need caller ID. Another comment, I guess Shas can tell the speaker, I beat you. Someone else is saying, let's see. Another comment in the chat room. I don't think I can see that one. That's it in the chat room, Tim.
Okay. All right, let's continue. I think we have a call. Yes. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Oh, good afternoon, Tipafi.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
I remember Richard Frederick on his show. You remember that he said that the government got a lot of money from different countries to the hospital, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't say which government got the money. That's the mistake he did. But he also told the Prime Minister that if he doesn't finish the hospital on his term, that he'll not go for election, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you know what that simply means? The box, they have to finish the box. The thing they call the box, they have to finish the box.
because if they attempt the other one, they will not have time to finish it. So they just start to give themselves, shooting themselves in the foot, and the speaker starts, the rest is coming next. Okay?
Okay.
All
right. Somebody just sent me a link to a Star newspaper article, St. Lucia Star newspaper online. Star Person of the Year 2022, and the article is by Rick Wayne. I've not been able to read the article in its entirety, but towards the end, it says there, let's head for Mr. Speaker, our Person of the Year 2022. So the Star newspaper article, a Person of the Year for 2022 is no other than the Speaker, Mr. Claudius Francis. All right, 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. We have a call. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you, Mrs. Nancy Charles.
How are you today?
I'm all right. How about you?
I'm doing well. Calling two matters. I will be clarifying Shazi Sanders' $24 million, as I am trying to keep my promise to Shazi that every time he calls, and like you said, and talk rubbish, then I will give the clarification, because I think perhaps St. Lucians are now in a position to listen and to understand some of those misrepresentations that the Labour Party had presented to the electorate. However, let me just go first to the issue of the Speaker. Timothy, you remember very early after this government won the elections, the leader of the opposition had missed a few sittings of the House.
Yeah.
And you remember when he came, that the Speaker had admonished and made certain pronouncements with reference to the salary of the leader of the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and everybody, you know, the Labour Party people go, they're going to take salary, etc., etc. I went all the way back there to remind St. Lucians. One, Claudius as the Speaker of the House, and Claudius is my good friend, so Claudius and I talk a lot. So we are friends. But Claudius as the Speaker of the House had no authority whatsoever to determine anything to do with the salary of the leader of the opposition. He has no authority to speak to anybody at Accountant General, whatever level, to say that they should deduct any pay from the leader of the opposition. And I will tell you, the Claudius I know knows that very well. I don't think Claudius is not intelligent enough to know that. But again, I think all St. Lucians should understand that Claudius is an operative of the St. Lucia Labour Party first, Speaker of the House second. And we have seen that over and over again. And so every decision that Claudius has made concerning Alan Chasney has been the work of the St. Lucia Labour Party trying to embarrass Alan Chasney, trying to say, I'm in charge, I'm the Speaker, and you're not, etc., etc. It has not been about fulfilling his role as the Speaker of the House and ensuring that he goes according to the Constitution, according to the standing orders, etc., etc. Most of his decisions when it comes to Alan Chasney has been political and about politics. And so for me, which is why a lot of St. Lucians continue to call, and I am making that call as well, is for Claudius to understand that you are and you have a right to be a member of the St. Lucia Labour Party. Constitutionally, you have that right. However, when you have been given certain positions, you now have to ensure that when you are in that particular position, when you're on the political platform, you can talk all your politics, etc., etc. You understand? But knowing who you are and the position that you carry, you have to understand that your role now has changed differently. And there are certain things you can say and you cannot say. There are certain things you can do and you cannot do, or you should not do. Let me say it as that. And so, for me, in that issue, Alan Chasney many times admonished the Speaker and told the Speaker that you cannot do this the way you are doing it. You are not following procedure. Alan Shastley with his team of lawyers did the research and they spoke to him, and when they went the first time, they mentioned that to him and said that you cannot do this. This is not the process. You are not following procedure. But again, trying to embarrass the leader of the opposition, trying to embarrass Alan Shastley, he continued to pursue this thing instead of saying, okay, let me step back. I apologize. This is not the procedure. This is the correct procedure. And so in future, this is how we will move forward. No, he's a big man. And today, the taxpayers of St. Lucia has to bear the cost of this. And so for me, with many other St. Lucians, I think it's right for them to call for his head. As to whether he does or whether the Prime Minister does, that's a different story. But I think we have a right to call for his head. Secondly, in terms of Shazi and Sandals, Shazi, again, when the United Workers' Party government came into office, there was an outstanding issue with reference to a tax calculation for Sandals. I've been trying to recall in my mind. I went to my emails to see if I had anything. I couldn't find it. But what I recall seems that the matter had to do with the calculation of the insurance, group insurance, whether the tax should be paid on the insurance for the entire Sandals chain or just the aspect for St. Lucia, etc., etc. That matter had been pending from the Dr. Kenny Anthony administration. It had been taken to cabinet, etc., and discussed. And there was a letter that was given to Sandals where the government of the day, which was the Kenny Anthony administration, had given them the go-ahead to say that that matter would have been resolved in the affirmative, that the calculation was wrong, etc., etc., and Sandals would have been able to qualify for that tax benefit or an exemption. That's what it was. When we came into office and we saw the matter, Alan Shastley didn't just give Sandals this. The matter was referred back to the Inland Revenue Department. The controller and the team at Inland Revenue went back. They researched. There was a back and forth because it took a little while. It didn't happen right away. They had discussions. They looked at precedents, etc., everything. And the recommendation from the Inland Revenue Department to the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers was that the tax calculation should have been X, Y, and Z, and therefore Sandals would have qualified for the tax exemption of the $24 million. And so the Cabinet went ahead based on the recommendation from Inland Revenue to grant Sandals that exemption. So I want Shazi and the Labour Party people that continue to speak, and that same Sandals, as soon as they came into office, the first person they embraced was Sandals. Sir, what? Your panic gets too easy. They went back to that same Sandals. They're so happy now. Sandals is expanding. Sandals this and that. We now give the people endless power for something that rightfully belonged to them. And it was not a decision of Alan Shastley. It was the decision of the Inland Revenue Department based on the recommendation. So the Cabinet went ahead and approved it and gave Sandals. So Shazi, when you want to talk about they give Sandals $24 million. If it was wrong, your government is in power now. Philip Jeffia can very easily go back to Inland Revenue, say, and look at what was said. And if they feel it was wrong, they can reverse the decision. There's nothing that prevents them from reversing the decision when it comes to taxes and Inland Revenue. That can easily be reversed. So if it was wrong, go back and take the $24 million, Shazi, because you're in government. But I just wanted to clarify that so that Shazi will not call and spew that garbage again. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling, ma'am. WhatsApp message, somebody says, we the taxpayers are paying for the speaker's hot-headedness. Claudius should just resign. Why do we have to continue paying him a salary? Still to come on the broadcast, a whole lot more as you continue to watch on YouTube as well as on the NewsSpin Facebook page and listening to us on Power 97.9 FM.
Craving some irresistible KFC chicken? KFC Wow Box has got you covered. For only $22, you get one piece of juicy chicken, one delicious sandwich, and a side of crispy regular fries. This offer is available at all KFC stores island-wide, and now with both dine-in and delivery options available, you can enjoy your meal however you want. Come into the store and enjoy the KFC experience or have it delivered to your doorstep. Don't wait. Order now through WhatsApp at 484-0400 or visit our website, kfcstlucia.com. Don't miss out on this amazing deal. Get your KFC Wow Box today, whether it's dine-in or delivery.
Pli meilleure manière pour entrer indépendant, c'est là où ka conduire l'auto qui ça ou. ek First Wheels Hot First National Bank, nou ka offert l'intérêt qui bien bas, ek nou ka prêter ou tout l'argent pour acheter l'auto depuis ou satisfait tout ça qui mérite. Vini indépendant ek prêter l'argent Hot First National Bank pour acheter First Wheels. Visitez n'importe branche et ben couillez téléphone 455-7000 et 455-717. First National Bank, here for you.
Lazarus's funeral home is here for you. Lazarus's private cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's private cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's funeral home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Electricity powers our favorite appliances and devices. But leaving your devices on or even plugged in when not in use can waste energy. Wasted energy that runs up your bill. When not in use, switch off, unplug, save energy, and save your appliances and devices. It's the smart thing to do. Saving energy is what's smart.
How we live? Hybrid life. Living on the hybrid life. Where you feel live? Hybrid life. We're living on the hybrid life.
End of one time we now watch phone bill. That's with the contract is a sure thing. How with the new floor plan name? Hybrid. If you don't know about it, then you better slide in. How we live?
Hybrid life. Living on the hybrid life. Where you feel live? Hybrid life. We're living on the hybrid life.
Jump in at it.
Hybrid life. Living on the hybrid life.
Where you feel live?
Hybrid life. We're living on the hybrid life.
With Flow's new hybrid plan, postpaid and prepaid come together as one with no overages, no contract, no deposit, and no catch.
Hybrid.
Bundle up now and get 15 gigabytes of data and unlimited flow call for only $57.50 per month, plus a discounted smartphone.
You see the new phone plan that Flow made? You could turn postpaid to prepaid.
Broadcasting island-wide on one frequency. Power 97.9 FM.
The following is a program disruption notice. Power 97.9 FM, in an effort to serve you better and be your broadcasting station of choice, will be relocating. During this transition period, you may experience temporary interruptions in our programming. We at Power 97.9 FM sincerely apologize to you, our valued listeners, partners, and clients for any inconveniences caused. We thank you for your continued support during this period, and we look forward to serving you even better from our new location soon. Keep listening to The Champion Sound.
Power 97.9 FM.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Choose Techland for your consumer, commercial, industrial, and automotive electronic repairs. We repair gaming systems, power supplies, televisions, vehicle electronics and wiring, appliances, control units, medical, marine and manufacturing equipment. And the list goes on. We have you covered whatever size, shape or use. Call us for your flood damaged vehicles and equipment. Individuals and companies, we will clean and restore your cars to normal working condition. Call us at 450-1025 or WhatsApp 285-1025. Located at Goodfellas Garage in Tuya, Bois d'Orange. Techland, your electronics expert. Repair it, don't replace it.
the basis of having a shadow cabinet is for persons to speak to what is said to be the portfolios which they are shadowing.
More of your calls, 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages. You just heard the former Speaker of the House, Mr. Wilfred Sinclair Daniel. All right, let's see if we have any of your WhatsApp messages to go through while we are awaiting your call. Somebody says that the potholes are so deep, I think I'll have to wash in one and rinse in another. That can cause loss of tires and an accident. What's happening to taxpayers' money and fuel? What is the government using it for? And we have a call. Good afternoon to you, NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Timothy Poleon.
Miss Mary Francis, to what do I owe this call?
I want to wish you all the best for 23.
You too, ma'am.
Continued success for allowing the people to have a forum to express their concerns, which is very important for democracy.
Thank you so much.
I'm calling because the Privy Council and the linking and accession to the CCJ. I noticed well the program is going along, and yesterday I think the education program was launched before the media. So now it has become a reality that we are delinking from the Privy Council and we are acceding to the CCJ as the apex of our justice system, thereby cementing our independence and our sovereignty, I must say. There's nothing wrong with that. These are worthy ideals and very necessary as the persons who have gone for colonialism. We have to then abolish the legacy of colonial past and so forth. But I'm still concerned because why I'm speaking now, at the time when the 2013, when the Court of Appeal dealt with the matter and interpreted the Constitution and said it was a mistake, I just thought this was just an academic exercise. I did not really think, the government would have proceeded along those lines. I mean to say, at the stroke of a pen, of a 2-to-1 panel of Court of Appeal judges, that to say the Privy Council will be abolished. 2-to-1, there was a dissenting judgment, and then we accede to the way we are going now. I thought, well, maybe it was academic, and the government would have still given the people an opportunity to express their voice in a referendum and hear the thoughts of the people. And be that as it may, that is the reality. We are going there. And but what I find to me, the argument that, okay, yes, we are now cementing our independence, our sovereignty, we have to delink from the colonial Privy Council and so forth. I find there is some type, I don't buy the argument that it's going to increase our access to justice. I think this is a spurious argument. Let us stick to the argument. We are abolishing because we want to cement our thing. I don't see how making the CCJ the apex of our justice system is going to broaden access to justice. Furthermore, I think we need to look at the more pressing issues actually affecting the justice system now. I'm not the first one, it has been said before, on the same issue of the Privy Council. Look at where we are now. The structures that we have. Why not attend to what we have now and then eventually go on to the CCJ? There is no access to justice in St. Lucia. It's very limited. When you're talking about access to justice, you're talking about affordability of obtaining access to justice, not just the court structure, the courts and the buildings and so forth. We have to look at the system, the procedural rules that have been put in place, which make it so costly for a little man to get justice in this country. You telling me, okay, before you can go to the CCJ in Trinidad as our highest court of appeal in the Caribbean, you have to first go to the High Court. You get a decision that costs $5,000 to go to the High Court in this day and age. And then you have to go, if you're not satisfied, you go to the Court of Appeal. $15,000, that's what I heard the lawyers are charging for the Court of Appeal. So how you can tell me that is going to broaden access to justice by then you're not satisfied with the Court of Appeal, you go to the CCJ? That's a spurious argument. We first have to broaden access to justice by making the structures, putting the structures in place. Limited government legal aid is limited in St. Lucia. The legal aid authority there on Brazil Street, how many persons can you serve with 2 lawyers? That should be strengthened, putting the structures in place. That should be strengthened because, furthermore, if you have a case against the state, you could not get legal aid from government. And this is a shame in a democratic society where the government has to protect our rights, they have violated our rights, and then The poor man, sometimes unemployed, have to put hands in his pocket to get $5,000 unless you get a lawyer to do it pro bono. And all that time, the poor man has to incur all the costs. Every order that is made by the court, with all those various rules of case management, the poor man has to incur that cost. The state has nothing to do, nothing absolutely. It is a very costly process. It's not affordable, so there is no access to justice as far as I'm concerned, what I see what people are going through in this country. You have administrative justice, and public servants doing wrong things and so forth. The parliamentary commissioner is supposed to look at that. Does she have a lawyer? What he has in place to help her to actually go through those complaints and to try and bring a remedy for the people who are being wronged in not administrative justice in the country. You have the complaints unit is another leg, is very important, because you have the law enforcement, which is very important to secure us in this country. But when they violate the law and you file a complaint, how long does it take? 2 years, sometimes 3 years. Why not strengthen the legislation which governs that? This is what we're talking about, access to justice. You have all those problems that there's no justice in this country. Don't tell me. Once I have tremendous respect for Sir Dennis Byron, who is heading the accession committee, because he has been given some great judgments and so forth, and is a legal luminary for the Eastern Caribbean and so forth. I don't buy that argument is going to access justice. Let us be genuine in St. Lucia. We have already deprived the people of a referendum. Let us be genuine in what we are doing. Because, I mean to say, people should have a voice. Now they're going like, okay, putting the cart before the horse to have an education campaign. I don't know how much money is going into that campaign, whether that money can go into legal aid or whatever. People might disagree with what I'm saying, but to me, we cannot come in this argument about access. Let us fix what we have. Where is the whole of justice? Let us fix what we have to ensure that it is affordable for the poor man. The poor man cannot obtain justice in this country anymore. It costs $1,000 to go to the magistrate's court, I believe. Look at the state of the magistrate's court. How many magistrates do we have there? You have to fix what you have, because if you are saying you have to go to the CCJ, we first have to enter the lower ranks. We first have to go before the magistrate, maybe sometimes high court, Court of Appeal. And by the way, the same Court of Appeal which, handed down this judgment in 2013, I am beginning to notice that, practicing lawyers were in active private practice. Queen's Counsel, now King's Counsel, who actually appear before the Court of Appeal, they are also now sitting as judges on the Court of Appeal. Acting judges, how can that be? That is a conflict. All about confidence. That's part of the reason why people were suspicious about going to the CCJ, the confidence. How can that help the confidence if you have our Court of Appeal having this type of practice now? No, that to me is unethical, a conflict of interest. How can the man who come in before the Court of Appeal seeing another lawyer who is actually a Queen's Counsel or King's Counsel who sits on the Court of Appeal, now they're practicing coming before the Court of Appeal against him? These are the things we have to be careful about. And those arguments we have, we have to be very careful. Let us be genuine in this country. And furthermore, I'm also wondering, I don't know about the OECS. Why don't you go en bloc into the CCJ? St. Kitts, St. Vincent, Grenada. The Sir Dennis is originally from St. Kitts. He can make a good case for them too. What about the present Chief Justice, who originates from St. Vincent? So they are selling the argument. Yes, I'm not against them selling the argument and so forth and educating the people. But why not let St. Kitts and those people join en bloc as making it the apex of the OECS countries too? I do not know. I'm not very familiar with the constitutions. I do not know whether they have the similar provisions which caused the Court of Appeal on a 2-1 panel to say that there was a mistake. After how many years of independence, suddenly they discovered a mistake. So that was a strategy. I know governments have a right, a duty to actually compel or force people to change to change their habits or to create people to evolve and so forth. And so the duty of the government to actually abolish the legacies of colonialism, and they have to do it. But the strategy they chose, they had the reason for doing it. They probably were afraid of the voice of the people. Why are you not afraid of the voice of the people in election time? Why you must be afraid of the voice of the people on an important issue like that? So that's why I'm calling, because I'm not happy about this idea of saying access. It's not genuine access to justice. If you want to talk about access to justice, make it affordable for the poor man. Put the structures in place. Look at as I said, the complaints unit, parliamentary commissioner, broaden legal aid, Furthermore, there is no National Government Human Rights Commission, which is so important in this place with all the various issues we have to deal with. They are not serious. I think to me government is standing on its head. The people are standing on there. It's time we stand on our feet in this country and don't buy those kind of, to me, these are just political gimmicks and so forth. That's what I would like to say. I have other things to talk about, but you know, this one, when I saw the launching of the thing to the media yesterday, and I saw it's really become a reality. We can't stop it, but at the same time, I appreciate we have to do what we have to do because we're an independent country and we have to solidify our independence. But at the same time, the argument about affordability, I think we should of course look at what we have, the weaknesses in what we have, strengthen them, because we can jump and say we can go to the CCJ. Because we first have to use what we have, which is broken and must be fixed before we can go to the CCJ. Why I have tremendous respect for Dennis, but I think it is very important for me to make that point.
Okay, ma'am.
I'm not persuaded. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your point of view with us. Although some people in the chat room are saying that this is the wrong forum that Miss Mary Francis is using to express her opinions on the decision of the government to ensure that St. Lucia makes the CCJ as its highest court of last resort. Definitely we allow everyone to call this broadcast and to share their point of view with us. It's not a popularity contest, okay? To those of you in the chat room who believe that if our views drop, then automatically we should just terminate the contribution that is being made by a particular individual. We have a call. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Timothy, pleasant good afternoon to you and your listeners all over the world. PW on the line, Timothy.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Timothy, I have been listening to your program for the last half an hour, and I must say, Mary Francis, I couldn't have said it better. What a performance. She was great. She made St. Lucians know what it is when it comes to joining the CCJ. And also Nancy Charles, she was on spot, Timothy. Timothy, I want to talk about three things this afternoon. I want to talk about Spider-Man Montoute, I want to talk about Philip J. Pierre, and I want to talk about Claudius Francis, Timothy. Timothy, how many times a parliamentarian, a government minister has to say to a speaker, this is not your role? How many times, Timothy? Timothy, I'm talking to you.
I'm listening to you. What you said, caller? Ask that question again.
How many times a government minister must tell a speaker, this is not his role, Timothy?
Well, I remember the first time it was done by Guy Joseph. You're saying that this should be done again by somebody?
Yes, this should be done against Claudius Francis. Because let me tell you, Timothy, you see, Claudius Francis knows very well. He knew he made the mistake, you understand, to bring Alan Chastney to the Privilege Committee. He knew that, Timothy, but he was too deep into that to withdraw what he first started, Timothy. He knew that, Timothy, because, Timothy, you see, the worst thing is when you see the color red in your eyes alone. Another thing, when you see the color yellow in your eyes alone, and you refuse to give justice where justice is deserved, Timothy. Claudius Francis is an intelligent man, I suppose. He is an intelligent man, Timothy. He should make that boo-boo with himself, Timothy. He knows very well that wouldn't have gone anywhere and he would have lost. He got advice from many people telling him, do not take this forward, and he still went and take this case to the Privilege Committee. Timothy, where's Bailey? The guy that came after we were talking about that, and he talked about he had watched Privilege Committees in Australia, New Zealand, all over the world. Where is he? I would like him to call your show, you understand? Because he was one of the guys that was defending Claudius' decision. Bailey, so Bailey, I want you to call that radio station and tell us, because you were one of the guys that were defending Claudius Francis. You know, Claudius Francis needs to remain, if he is Speaker of the House, he needs to concentrate on his job and do not take a party line at any time, Timothy. That is all I have to say when it comes to Claudius Francis. Spider-Man Montut, Timothy, that actually I was listening to my television a few days ago, and I heard Spider-Man Montut talking about the United Workers' Party, Timothy. I've never heard him sound so brilliant, and he said that the party is united. Yes, the United Workers' Party has always been united. Although, I mean, we have people in the party, you can never find a party that's 100% united, but we need to let the democratic process actually take place in the party. Whosoever needs to come up as political leader and to challenge Mr. Alan Shaftney, let them put up themselves as candidates. Don't stay and trying to chop people's neck, you understand, or to impose people or insert people into a position that they do not deserve. You understand? So this party is united, the United Workers' Party, and if anybody wants to challenge the leadership of Alan Shaftney as opposition leader, let them bring themselves forward. I don't want anybody coming to tell me, you understand, that, you know, you supporting Alan Shaftney, let's get him out. For what reason should we get him out? As far as I'm concerned, he's the best leader at this point in time. We need people that need to challenge Alan Shaftney to come in and put themselves as candidates. Timothy, when it comes to Philip J. Pierre, Philip J. Pierre, you know, the chicken has come to roost. Philip J. Pierre now is saying to the citizens of this country, let the police do their job. He finally said that. When Alan Shaftney was in office, I didn't used to hear him talking like that. He could have spoken like that when Alan Shaftney was in office. The citizens of this country must allow the police to do their jobs. You cannot tell me 2 minutes ago a guy robbed a tourist down the road and he is sitting in the ghetto or he's sitting by the market and the police comes to arrest him and people are just dead saying to the police, what did the guy do? You cannot arrest the guy, pulling the guy from the police. Timothy, this culture of pulling and wrestling with the police and fighting with the police to take out the suspect from the custody of their hands, Timothy, that must stop.
You okay, caller?
Yes.
All right. Appreciate your contribution, sir. Time is very much against us. Let us head now from the Communications Office in the Ministry of Infrastructure, Miguel Fevrier, reporting on the Groseley to Cap Estate Road rehabilitation.
The Department of Infrastructure, Ports and Transport wishes to remind the public that the section of highway from the Groseley town entrance to the Cap Estate entrance will be rehabilitated from the month of February. Works include, but are not limited to, drainage, sidewalk repairs, and road resurfacing. The contractor is expected to undertake roadworks during the day and night in order to expedite the completion of the project. Motorists and pedestrians should expect delays and are urged to exercise caution and vigilance when traversing this section of the road during the construction period. Signs and cones will be installed to guide all road users. The Department of Infrastructure, Ports and Transport requests your cooperation and patience during the construction works and apologizes for any inconvenience caused.
Communications Office in the Ministry of Infrastructure reporting on the pending rehabilitation of that stretch of road, Groseley to Cap Estate. Final look at what's happening in the chat room. Kimani, anything to report on?
Someone saying, I thought Mary would call about crime. Saw a lot of comments about that. Another comment saying, Mr. Daniel was the best Speaker of the House. He demanded great respect and was well liked. I grew up watching him. Someone is asking, Tim, why are we really going to the CCJ? What is the government hiding from us? And someone else is asking, Tim, is there pending cases against the government? That's why they are moving to the CCJ. Another final comment from the chat room. Judicial reform is much needed. Why didn't Pierre work on that? He is rushing to go to the CCG.
All right. Thank you so much. And we conclude with the best of the Speaker of the House of Commons. Not the best of the Speaker of the House of Assembly of St. Lucia Commons. You know this guy? John Bacau, Speaker of the House of Commons from 2009 to 2019.
Order! 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 Indication,
Order! The government chief whip has absolutely no business whatsoever shouting from a sedentary position. Order! The honourable gentleman will remain in the chamber. When... Sorry?
It still is. Just call second. Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Since when an amendment has... Order.
I know what I'm doing.
That when he turns up at our children's school as a parent, he's a very well-behaved fellow. Be a good boy!
That at any time in our history... I apologise for interrupting the Prime Minister. There is simply far too much noise. The public doesn't like it, and neither do I. Prime Minister.
This government or that Labour Party led by Jeremy Corbyn.
We don't name people in the chamber. People must observe the rules. No, order. Order, I am simply and politely informing the Prime Minister of the very long established procedure with which everybody, including the Prime Minister, must comply. Mr. Lewis, get a grip of yourself, man. Come, take up yoga, you'll find it beneficial, man. I say to member, order. Resume your seat, Mr. Harper. You don't stand when I'm standing, and that's the end of it. Mr. Angus Brendan McNeil, calm yourself. You may be a cheeky chappie, but you're also an exceptionally noisy one. The Prime Minister will please withdraw the word idiot. It's unparliamentary. A simple withdrawal will suffice. We're grateful. Order. Put it back. No. Order. I must order the honourable gentleman to withdraw immediately from the House for the remainder of this day's sitting. This is intolerable behaviour as far as the public... No, it's not funny. That sticker on the subject of Brexit happens to be affixed to or in the windscreen of my wife's car. Yes. And I'm sure the honourable gentleman wouldn't suggest for one moment that a wife is somehow the property or chattel of her husband. You are well-intentioned and principled, but you are overexcitable and you need to contain yourself. It requires you to take some medicament, and so be it.
Former Speaker of the House of Commons from 2009 to 2019, John Burkow, bringing to a conclusion today's edition of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9 FM, as well as on YouTube and our NewsSpin Facebook page. Join me this evening, 8:30 on DBS television for yet another season of Newsmaker Live. Goodbye.